Hey guys, what are you at? Been a long time. I have no excuses. Life got in the way and I just haven't bothered to upload a video. I did a couple of vlog style updates during the summer, and September whizzed by. I have no idea where it went. So this evening I decided to sit down. It's now about 7:30 at night, thus the horrible lighting because I'm filming in my dining room and I just have one big overhead light. We're just gonna have to make do. So I'm sitting down relaxing. I'm freshly out of the shower, that's why my hair is soaking wet. I'm having a cider. And I'm gonna film a Flosstube video. So, first of all, thank you so much to everyone who has been watching and has subscribed to my channel. When I started out a few years ago, I never thought that I'd have this many people following me on Instagram or on YouTube, and it's been great. It's been fun. I love interacting with people. I love answering questions that people send me. It's been really, really awesome. So I have noticed that over the course of the last month or so, I've surpassed the 5,000 subscriber mark on my YouTube channel. Yay. So I am going to go do a giveaway, but I will probably save that for the next video. I haven't wrapped my head around what I want to do yet. It's probably going to be some sort of combination of a giveaway of some charts that I have in my stash that I'm not going to stitch or have already stitched, as well as maybe I'll do a gift certificate to 123 Stitch or something like that, or Heaven and Earth Designs. I haven't figured it out yet. So when I do, I will upload a separate video just for that as a thank you. But in the meantime, let's go through what I have been up to, because I've gotten a lot done. Just because I haven't uploaded a video doesn't mean I haven't been steadily working away on different crafts and things. In my last video, you may have seen that we were involved in a very horrible car accident. Everybody's fine, everybody's okay, but my car got written off, and I did put pictures of that in my previous video, so you can go back to that and have a look if you want, or they're also on my Instagram. Finally got a new car straightened out. Didn't take very long to do that. The insurance company was very forthcoming, paid for the car because they did find that we were not the ones at fault. And that's about it. My laundry room got flooded. My washer decided it was going to give up the ghost and flooded my laundry room. And I thought we were going to have to go buy a new washer, and tried a few different things and nothing was working. And my MacGyver of a husband said, no, we're not buying a new washer. I'm convinced I can fix this one. Now, my washer is like 20 years old. Not a word of a lie. We bought it the year we had Emma, like maybe 6 months before she was born. She's going to be 20 next month. So I can't believe the washer has lasted that long. I was convinced I was just going to go buy a new washer. I was like, no, I got to have a new washer. I'll go buy a new washer. And he says to me, no, I can fix this washer. And he said, look, the ones you buy nowadays, they only last you 5 or 6 years. They got plastic parts in them. He said, this thing has steel pieces. It has a solid, good transmission. I'm convinced I can fix it. So I spent a week taking my laundry to the laundromat. I spent another week last week taking all my laundry home to my mother's when I went out for Thanksgiving weekend. Just like I was returning home from university back in my college days. But I had like, a full household's worth of laundry with me when I showed up on the doorstep. And lo and behold, after purchasing a new pump and a new seal at a grand total of $55, my washer is fixed and working like a top. So I don't know, yay hubby. And one more crisis averted. Now that being said, I don't know how long I'm going to get out of it. Again, the thing is like 20 years old. I might only get another few months out of it. I don't know. But for now, it's back to working like normal. We also had my mom's 70th birthday. That went over really great. We had a big party for her. But anyway, let's get to the stitching stuff. Oh, so actually, in speaking about my mom's 70th, that is stitching stuff. My sister and I threw her a party at her place, and I had stitched a Native Indian head for her a few years ago. She had purchased one from my best friend's mom that she had stitched about 20 years ago, and it had never been framed. So I took the one I made and the one from my best friend's mom into the framers and had them matted and framed. So I will insert a picture of those here. For those of you who have not seen it on Instagram, that was it. So very happy that they were done. She absolutely adored them and loved them. They are now hanging in her dining room on the dining room wall. So let's get to the rest of my stitching. Where do I start? It's been so long. Let's start big. Actually, no, let's start with this piece. So as some of you might know, I have been stitching quilt blocks for honor quilts for officers who have passed or who are living currently with PTSD or who have died in the line of duty. I had this chart that someone had gifted me. It is a Tartan Map of Newfoundland. I am stitching this for an officer who passed away a year ago for his quilt, and I have also done one for another quilt, and I have one more that I have to do. This is as far as this second one has gotten. See, the lighting in here sucks big time. But anyway, that is as much as the Tartan Map that I have done at this point. I will keep going with this. I've mostly been working this on night shifts at work. Gives me something to do in between calls, keeps me awake. So that's that one. And I have one other one to do. Same chart, and then I'll be done with that. Let's talk about Jay's Folk Witch piece. Hi Jay, if you're watching. I had a huge milestone or finish on this last month. This is Jay's Folk Witch, which is being stitched on, I think, 25 or 28 count. I can't remember. And here is what I have done so far. I've taken it out of the Q-snap. So, let's see. This is now complete, one row of pages completely finished. The most recent finish was, were the 2 pages on this side. This page here and this page here. So that's the most recent section that has been finished. I finished 2 pages in August and got those done. And originally when it came to me, I think this was the first block that was done. So I worked down for a bit, then I worked one way, and then I worked the other way. So now I have the complete width of the piece. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep working down, I think, for a while before I work up and do her face and the rest of her hair, because it's like save the best for last. I'm really looking forward to doing that part. I am, however, going to put this away for just a little while and take a break from it. Not because I'm tired of working on it, but because I have my Record Girls piece that I am still working on. And if I work on this almost exclusively, but if I work on this I can have this done by the end of the year, which was my goal initially. So I've taken it out of the Q-snap. You'll have to excuse the wrinkles. I'm not worried about the wrinkles that the Q-snap has left, by the way. Some people have asked me about that, the creases. They come out. I've never had any issues with the Q-snap leaving residual marks on my pieces once they've been done and washed and pressed. Never had any issues with it. So this is Record Girls in all of her glory. You'll have to excuse all the wrinkles. This is where it was, you know, folded and folded and folded and rolled up inside the grime guard. But here it is in all of its glory. Again, the lighting in here I know is really bad. But I am on the very last row of pages. This is it. This page 2, page 3, and then there's a half page here on the corner. So it's going along really well. This is the bottom of the piece. It doesn't go down any further. And what I was saying about the Q-snap, you can see these creases here, but if you look closely, you can see that the stitches are actually not damaged. There's just a mark going across them where they've been kind of flattened a little bit. So once you wash this, it's going to come back to normal. So there we go. That's all of Record Girls. So I'm going to try and work on this almost exclusively for the next little while, so I can try and get a finish on that by the end of the year, because I need to. I want that done. I want it off my plate. So that's that one. I did have a new start back in June for my birthday. I think it was my birthday. I had purchased this chart, and I don't have a color copy of it here, I don't think, because it's downstairs in my stash. Let me see. Maybe I do. No. I photocopy, I make a working copy of all my charts because I still work from paper. I don't like using PDFs because I like to be able to just grab my stitching and take it with me. And if I'm watching TV shows or something on my iPad, then I can't use my iPad to look at PDF charts at the same time. So, this is the Pat Rogers Tapestry sampler. I started this not long after I received the chart, and this is where I am. There we go. This is an old piece of 18 count oatmeal, I think it is. If I show it up close, see how it's got flecks of stuff in it? It's an old piece of 18 count Ada that I had in my stash. I just love these colors, which I don't know if are coming out very true to life because the lighting in here is so bad, but you get the idea. I just love these. It's a needle minder from Ingeborg at A Stitch Too Far. Thank you, Ingeborg. So yeah, I'm working away on that. I'm getting some progress. I had started a little Santa on this years ago, but that's well up in the corner out of the way of this piece, so it's not even going to affect the piece at all. I had started him and didn't do anything with it, so I just stole the fabric. So that's that one. Next one is my Death by Cross Stitch. Now I have been working on this on Fridays. I haven't worked on it for the last month because my knitting obsession kind of took over. We'll get to that. But I had been working on it every Friday, so for Friday off the grid, whether I was working or not working, I was working on this for Fridays, and I got a lot of progress done. So this is the entire width of the piece. Again, lighting in here is not good. Looks very dark. This is actually navy. It's DMC 939, not black. I'm stitching at 1/1 on 25 count, so the coverage is really good. And that's where I am. So I've gotten completely across the piece, and now I'm starting to work down. I started on this page first because I was already on this end. This part over here was covered up by the Q-snap, so I just kept working down. Once I hit the end, I just kept working down. So that is that. I'm in love with this piece, and I'm so happy to get back to it on Fridays. But this month, because it's Halloween month and it's October, instead of doing off the grid Fridays, I'm using with that piece, I'm using my Plague Doctor piece. So this is Plague Doctor by Buzzbeedesigns on Etsy. It's a PDF chart. That's what he's supposed to look like. This is solidly stitched. It's a full coverage. This is full coverage piece, and then this exterior part will be your fabric, and then you stitch this ring around him. Now, I've changed mine up. I'm not doing it full coverage. Anyone who follows me on Instagram would have already seen this, but this is a piece of coffee dyed fabric that I dyed myself. And there is Mr. Plague Doctor. So, what I have done, instead of only doing the black, like some people have done, I'm actually doing the black and the darkest color gray that the chart calls for. So there's actually 2 colors in there, just to give it a bit more depth, a bit more dimension to the piece. But I'm leaving all the other colors blank, so you can just see this old coffee dyed fabric through. I'm not filling in any of this. And I'm not going to stitch the oval around him. I think what I'm going to do is I might frame him in an oval frame, a black kind of ornate looking oval frame. So that is Plague Doctor. The only thing I have left to do is this bottom corner right here. So if I stitch on him on Halloween for Dark October stitching on Halloween, I will have him done. I will finish him on Halloween, because there really isn't much left for me to do on that. Okay, so that concludes my cross stitching. That is where I am. Plans for the rest of October and into November. I am going to work on Plague Doctor on Halloween. I'm going to work on my record girls because I really want to try and get them finished by the end of the year. And that's it. That's where I am. So let's talk about another obsession another bug that struck me other than my stitching bug. I got hit by the knitting bug. Pretty hard, I might add. Pretty hard. So I had already showed you before that I had attempted to knit socks, and that went okay. That was the first thing I had ever tried to knit, and it went okay. So I knit socks. I then knit a second pair of socks for myself in this colorway. It's very vibrant. And I made ankle socks, so they just come up just above my ankle, which I like better than the full length up your leg socks. So there's my ankle socks. I had already showed those before, and I wear these, and they're wearing pretty well. Yeah, and I didn't have any issues with them. The only issue I had, I believe, you might be able to see it on this one, when I was doing the heel flap, I ended up with a little hole there where the heel flap kind of cuts in. But I have since corrected that. I think it was how I was picking up the stitches for the heel flap, because this sock, the second one I knit of that pair, doesn't have the same hole. Yeah. So, because I knit those, my daughter wanted a pair. So I said, okay, well, first of all, I need a knitting bag. So I made one. Ingeborg, you might recognize this fabric. She had sent this to me. I think it was a tea towel. And I took the sewing machine to it and made a little drawstring bag for my sock knitting. So, on my needles now is a pair of Hermione's socks. What are they called? Hermione's Everyday Socks by Dreams in Fiber. This is a free pattern online. I think you can get it on Ravelry. And there it is. The sock has this textured pattern. So I'm knitting this with plain yarn, and my daughter has larger, like wider legs than I have, so I'm knitting a larger sock. And I'm also knitting them longer. But here is the sock, and there is the pattern. You can see. So they're going fairly well, and I decided on this one that I would start to try and learn how to do 2 colors. So there is, I got a cream for the cuff, the blue for the leg. I'm going to use the cream on the heel and the cream on the toe. So that's the first sock of that set. I have that kept in my bag so I can take it back and forth to work as soon as I'm finished that other Newfoundland Tartan Map that I'm stitching. I can get back to working on these so they'll be done for her birthday. So that's that. I made 2 other bags as well. This is out of tea towels that Allie gave me from Australia. And I just love the bright, vibrant colors on them. So this was one. She also gave me a red one, which is downstairs. And I just folded them over and sewed them up and made 2 project bags. And I just put leftover fabric I had on the inside. This was Snoopy from when I made the Snoopy project bags. So after I conquered socks, I said, well, I would like to do a shawl for myself. And I didn't want to go out and buy any expensive, yarns because I was still learning. So I went out and bought a cake of, oh my God, I can't even remember the name of the brand. Is it Bernat? Anyway, it's like a cake of yarn that changes color as you go. And I picked out a pattern for a shawl that was called the Heavy Metal Shawl. It was a free download from Ravelry. And I made this shawl. So it's fairly large. Because it's acrylic yarn, it doesn't really lend itself to blocking. So I can't really block out the pattern, but I think it looks great. I didn't have any issues learning how to do it. It seemed to turn out okay. And I just had to sew in the last couple ends, but I haven't done that yet because it really hasn't been cold enough to wear this yet, but it's quite a nice size shawl. And I can wear it, in the winter as a big scarf around my neck, or I could drape it over my shoulders at work or whatever. But I love it. I think it's a great piece. I'm really pleased with it. I think it turned out really well for my first attempt. Yeah, I have to say I was quite pleased with it. So yeah, you could wear it around. If I had a shawl pin, I could wear it around and just do kind of like that and pin it. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I really like the color. So there you go. So that was an FO, fully finished object, an FFO. So because I said, okay, well now I know I can tackle a shawl, I said I'd like to make myself a really nice light one that I could wear in the fall or in the spring. I have to take a drink, right, McKenna, every time I show an FO? Is that how that goes? So I went out and I bought some really, really gorgeous yarn from our local knitting store here, Cast On, Cast Off. And it is a superwash merino from, oh my God, is it Handmaiden Fibers? I think it's Handmaiden Fibers. I'll try and put a link down below. In the colorway Bull Rush. Just look at that color. It's got browns and teals and greens and like a goldy kind of color mixed in with the brown. This is another free design I got off Ravelry. It's called the Easy Goes It. So with shawls, like I didn't know what I was doing, right? So I taught myself different things with different ones. So with this one, I taught myself, well, I already knew how to knit and purl, obviously, because I can do ribbing or I could do knit. So these are knits or purls, purl one row, knit one row, or knit every row. Okay, that's how you get this gradient here in the pattern. You can see the little bit of ribbing there. And then these are caused by doing yarn overs. So I taught myself how to do yarn overs. Okay. And then the way this one increased is you would on one side you would, because this is how you started out. You started out here. This is the beginning, and it gets wider and wider and wider. So this was all knit, 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 until you got to here, and then you knit and purl. Yeah, so all the way along. Then you got to the first section of yarn overs, and then the last bit. I love this. Like I said, so I taught myself how to do the make one, no, not make one right. It was, and it's just really light. It's a really slight shawl. I love it. I taught myself how to do the, knit. Yeah, so one way you had to knit front and back into the same stitch to increase. And on the other side, you had to purl front and back to make the increase. So I taught myself how to do that. That worked out okay. Did the yarn overs and then how to bind off. I taught myself how to bind off on the other shawl. But because it's acrylic and you can't really block it really well, I used a stretchy binding and it left a little bit of a ripple effect on the bottom of this scarf, which is fine. I don't mind that. But on this one, the bind off edge turned out really nice and flat. It's really nice. So that's that. So I got about halfway through this shawl and decided, what am I going to knit next? And I decided I was going to move into a cardigan. I don't know what I was thinking, but you know me, go big or go home. And I had been watching a few knitting podcasts, and some of the girls that I was watching, there's a set of 4 sisters from Alberta called Cozy Up Knits. And they had all decided that they were all stitching the Comfort Fade Cardi by Andrea Mowry. Now, I love Andrea Mowry's stuff. It's really nicely done. It's very casual, seems easy to knit. I said, okay, I'm going to give this cardigan a whirl. So I went out and I bought yarn for it, like proper yarn, because it's done in a DK weight. And this is one of the colors, which is not going to show up true here, but it's like a really nice teal color. And then I had the second color I was going to use that it was going to gradient into is this navy. And this is the Julie Aslin Lizu DK. So this one is superwash merino and silk. Really nice. And then that goes into this, which is a combination of brown, navy, and gray, which will finally at the end transition into just gray. So it's a faded cardi, so it's all the 4 colors are in the cardigan, and it's done in a reverse stockinette, meaning that the pearl bumps are worn on the outside of the sweater. So I said, I'm going to give this a go. So here we are. This is where I am. I'm trying to do this without my needles falling off. This is the cardigan so far. The teal to the navy, and now I'm down into that gradient of blue, gray, and brown. So this is actually the outside of the cardigan. I had to teach myself how to do a make one right and make one left to make this gorgeous seam for the shoulders, because it's a raglan style construction, so it's knit top down from neck down, and you don't need to attach sleeves, like they're already here. You put your sleeve stitches on waist yarn to just hold on to them while you finish knitting the body, and then you go back and you pick these waist stitches. See how I have them held on waist yarn? I'm going to go back and pick these stitches up all the way around the armhole and then just knit the sleeve down. So that's the side that's supposed to be showing out, is the pearl side. They call it reverse stockinette. It's basically you're wearing it inside out. And this is the inside. So on the if you look at the knitted side, the knit side, the fade is not as, it's more like stripes. Whereas if you look at the pearl side, it's more speckledy. It's less abrasive, like the stripes are not right in your face. And that's why it's done this way, I think. I'm really, really enjoying this. So I am down this far to my body from the underarm. Not very much, but a few inches there. So this is the bottom of the armhole. I'm loving it. I don't know when I'm going to have it finished because I'm busy, but I'm really, really enjoying working on this. It's been so much fun. I've been really enjoying teaching myself how to knit. Before this year, I hadn't knit anything. No, that's a lie. I shouldn't say I hadn't knit anything. When I was a little kid, I had knit like just a plain scarf. Like you knit across a row and you purl back, or you knit every row. Or I think I did one time where it was like, it was almost like a rib pattern, but it was staggered. So it was like knit 4, purl 4, knit 4, purl 4, and then on the reverse back, after so many rows of that, it was like, then you purl 4, knit 4, purl. So it was like a checkerboard pattern, but it was just straight knit and purl. No increasing, no nothing. It was just, knit and purl back and forth the row until your scarf was long enough to use. That was as much as I had ever done as a little kid. And I didn't like knitting because I didn't like if you dropped a stitch, how do you pick a stitch back up, or how do you fix it? I found it very complicated. I couldn't understand it. So I've crocheted for years. I've crocheted. But this year I decided was going to be the year that I was going to teach myself how to knit. And voila, a few YouTube videos later, and I have worked myself from socks to shawls to a cardigan now. Now the cardigan's not done. This could be a total disaster by the time it's finished. By the time I put the collar on and sleeves, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be the right size. I did my best to try and measure myself. Because usually when you measure for a cardigan, you measure bust size, and let's just say I'm a little hourglassy. So the measurement of my bust size is not handy to the measurement for my waist. So it may be a big cardigan, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it being a little loose. I would rather it too loose than too small. So anyway, so that's my knitting adventure. If you follow me on Instagram, you would already had seen all this stuff because I post on Instagram every day or two. I'll put a link to my Instagram at the end of this video. Oh, I also got myself, I don't know if you can see that with this lighting again, but this is a bracelet. It's a crafter's bracelet, and it's actually a measuring tape. It's made from leather, and it is inches on one side and centimeters on the other. And it's really great because when you're knitting and you need to check and see, oh, did I, have I gotten, have I got 4 inches knit yet before I need to change my color? It just pops right off. And you can just measure. And yeah, and when you're done, you can just pop it right back on your wrist again. I thought that was so cool. So that was like my little gift to myself when I decided I was going to knit my cardigan. I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to, I've conquered enough knitting now. If I'm going to try a cardigan, I think I'm going to reward myself with a little gift. And I got a little wrist ruler, it's called. So there you go. That is my handy dandy catch up. I don't think I had anything else to show you. I am still cross-stitching, I'm still knitting and hanging out at home and loving it and working. Wish I wasn't working, but that's it, right? We can't all be millionaires and live at home. I have to work in order to support my growing hobbies, right? So that's everything. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the section down below. I'll do my best to answer comments. I don't check them every day, but every couple of days I do try and go in and answer any questions that are there or respond to comments that are there. I will try and upload a video in a few days for a little surprise giveaway as soon as I figure out what I want to do for that. And I'm going to try and leave it not so long the next time. I typically upload a video once a month. I found it a lot easier when I was doing the vlog style because I could just grab the camera and, just film my stitching while I was working on it, or if I had something to say, I could do it at that time, rather than carving out this chunk of time to sit down and, have a full-blown discussion. And anyway, I don't know. We'll see what I'm going to do for the next video. But thanks so much for spending time with me. I hope the lighting wasn't too horrible for you. It's just, I had this bit of time and it was in the evening, and I said, well, I'm not going to wait till tomorrow morning because something is bound to come up, and tomorrow morning I'll be too busy and I will not get this video done yet again. So have a great rest of October. Have a fabulous Halloween for those of you who love the whole Halloween time of year. I hope you're having a fantastic autumn. We're due for a storm right now. Thankfully not a snowstorm. It's supposed to be a wind and rain storm. That is supposed to start overnight tonight. But we're supposed to get winds 100 kilometers an hour plus winds. So everything on our back deck has been strapped down or removed from the deck. I'm hoping I'm not going to lose any branches off of my trees. But I suspect we're going to have some damage in the yard over the next couple of days. Have a great October, have a great Halloween, and happy belated Thanksgiving to all the rest of you Canadians that are out there. And I know the US has their Thanksgiving coming up now in November, but hopefully you will see me before that. So take care, have a great one, and we'll see you soon. Bye.